Spring had come early to the Southlands. The warmth had coaxed the crickets and the frogs from their winter slumber, and their chorus enlivened the night, creating a mood of peace and joy. Iris, a young witch of 25 years, lay in the grass, gazing at the full moon as the north wind played in the treetops. Iris often felt invisible. Among her neighbors in her village, few agreed with her understanding of the world and its nature. And so, as time passed, she learned to keep her own counsel. Her world narrowed, and so she too diminished. She thought she was tiny, as small as a single stream of morning light coming through a bedroom window at dawn, and silent. The thread of her silence was the weave of her words, for no one understood her language of the moon and the water. She lived with her mother on the outskirts of nowhere. Being tiny and quiet, she kept her own company because none could see her, nor could they hear her. The moon understood her words, so Iris would talk to the moon at night. Iris was happiest when the moon was full, because the moon was always jolly and a little playful when she was full.
I have decided to stir up a little mischief,
the moon told her one night, as the north wind blew through Iris's hair and encouraged the moon in her plans. The north wind could be as playful as the full moon. Most people only remembered the north wind's bite or his storms, so it was easy to miss his impish and light-hearted nature. But the north wind, like you or I, is not a single note. He is a rich melody filled with depth and mystery.
"What shall you do?"
asked Iris.
"Don't cause too much trouble,"
she said plaintively.
"Oh, little Iris,"
said the moon in her brilliance.
"you repeatedly choose the path that has the least amount of difficulty woven into it. But sometimes, in fact, quite often, that is not the best path to choose."
Iris smiled. The moon was an odd, beautiful creature that filled the night with light and humor, and Iris always enjoyed her company.
"What are your plans then, Moon?"
Iris asked.
"I'm still scheming,"
replied the moon.
"I think I will need the north wind's help."
The north wind moved playfully about in the treetops, listening to their conversation.
"I don't know, old friend,"
replied the north wind in his deep, gusty voice.
"Your moonbeams dance in a particularly artful way this evening. Your plans seem deep."
"They are for a friend in need,"
said the moon.
"My light will not pierce the dragon dens of the north. The mists of the islands mistrust me and keep my influence there to a minimum. Perhaps you can speak to the Dragon Lord for me, North Wind. Your power comes from the north. No one dares challenge your storms."
"Dragons?"
both Iris and the north wind exclaimed together.
"You go too far, Moon,"
said Iris in her small, delicate voice.
"One does not play with dragons, not even the moon,"
she said with a smile.
"It is time to awaken the sleeping dragon,"
replied the moon mysteriously.
"I shall send you to complete this task, Iris."
Iris laughed.
"I am going nowhere, Moon. I have to work tomorrow, and there I enjoy your company and the company of the north wind, and would love to help you. I am actually not in my right mind, or, at the very least, remarkably strange. Everyone says so."
"You leave tomorrow,"
continued the moon, unperturbed.
"Do you need to make any arrangements for your absence? I wouldn't want your mother to worry."
This made Iris laugh.
"I am going nowhere, Moon. I'm the only one who can hear you. I'm not right in the head. There's nowhere for me to go."
The truth of the last statement, or at least Iris's perception of the statement as true, whether it actually was or not, made her sad.
"Dear, sweet Iris,"
said the moon,
"do not use the opinion of others as your mirror. Brilliance and beauty and adventure are the birthright of all.
Then the moon's voice became a little more determined, and she said,
You are going on this journey. I will be there with you, as will the north wind, and I think you will like the mists of the islands. Though they mistrust me, perhaps rightfully so, they have a wonderful mystery that plays about them. They are a joy to know.
Iris laughed as she stood up and brushed the dirt from her skirt.
Good night, Moon. Good night, North Wind. I shall see you two tomorrow, after my day of work,
she said with a smile as she walked toward the back of the tiny cottage she shared with her mother. She disappeared into her home.
You understand now, don't you, North Wind?
Asked the moon after Iris had left.
I do.
Replied the North Wind.
I shall go right now to speak to the master of the dragon dens. He won't like it, though,
he said with a chuckle. He was not fond of the Master Dragon Lord, and annoying him would give the North Wind some pleasure. He sped off, moving swiftly through the night. Iris woke to the early light of dawn peeking through her window. She didn't speak much to the sun. He was a much more serious fellow than the moon, and he always seemed very busy. She dressed for work in her usual nondescript clothes. She brushed her long silver hair and tied it up into a bun. Her mother smiled at her as she sat at the kitchen table.
You look lovely today.
Thank you, Mother.
Iris felt the same comfortable ease and happiness around her mother that she felt around the moon. Her mom sat across from her and sipped on her tea.
I had a strange dream last night,
her mother said.
I don't remember all of it. The moon was talking to me.
This made Iris look up, startled and interested. Her mother, though trained in the power, didn't have much natural talent or even desire to follow the path. So she had long ago quit working with magic. She didn't hear the moon. In fact, none of the witches of their acquaintance, except her Nan, heard the moon.
The moon told me not to worry about you, that she would be with you.
Then her mother smiled, her normal, easy, happy smile.
Interesting dream, don't you think?
That is interesting,
replied Iris. She took a sip of her tea to give herself space to think.
When you were a small child,
her mother continued,
you would talk to the moon constantly. You would speak to the trees and the flowers and the wind as well. They were all your friends. Your world was so alive.
Well, I still speak to the moon, and the wind for that matter, but not the trees so much anymore. They are very quiet. Time is their meditation as near as I can tell.
Her mother smiled. Her daughter was much more powerful than she realized, and her mother knew this. As Iris had grown, her gifts had grown as well. But since she was so young in this world, only 25 years of age, she did not realize how special she was.
Well, it seems,
said her mother. She continued to eat her eggs.
That you have a journey in front of you.
Mother, I am working with Nan today. I cannot leave at a moment's notice.
The moon goddess is our mother, Iris,
her mother said.
She is the soul of the witch shining in the sky. If she decides you need to go on a journey, then she will send you. She is much older and wiser than a young witch.
Just then, the door to the cottage opened and Iris's Nan walked in with a happy bounce in her step and a smile on her face.
The North Wind brings news. He is at my back bringing change as he always does.
Iris loved her Nan. She had beautiful wild hair and smelled like the earth and herbs. Her Nan reminded Iris of the trees. Time was simply a passing thought to her, a butterfly of whispers drifting through the air that occasionally caught her attention. Iris's mother frowned. She was not very fond of the North Wind because she was not very fond of change.
He brings a dragon with him.
continued Nan with enthusiasm and a little awe.
I haven't seen a dragon in decades.
A dragon?
Exclaimed her mother.
We don't want dragons here.
She was even less fond of dragons than she was of the North Wind.
No, we don't. But I don't think he intends to stay. The North Wind and the dragon seem to be on an errand.
Nan looked at Iris.
It's time for Iris to walk the path.
Nan,
said Iris hesitantly.
I do not want to talk to a dragon.
There was genuine fear in her voice. She had only ever heard of the dragons, but they seemed a violent, aggressive sort from the stories. Just then the windows rattled and the door shook.
The North Wind,
said Iris quietly. The North Wind had arrived. He wasn't playful as he had been last night. He was serious and intent.
It's time,
said her Nan. Iris rose slowly from the table, shaking slightly, as Ma'am opened the door and the three women stepped outside. The North Wind blew about the garden, shaking the trees and knocking down the roses. And in the sky, slowly descending into the garden, was an enormous red dragon, the size of a house. His presence instilled fear and awe and silence. The North Wind settled a bit as the dragon landed. The dragon stared at the three women with an intensity Iris had never felt before.
Who is Iris Brightwater?
Asked the red dragon. His voice had the deep rumble of a giant furnace. The low vibrations seemed to move through the whole valley, filling it like a resonance chamber. Her mother and her Nan instinctively looked at Iris. The red dragon followed their gaze. He gave a snort and said with a condescending tone,
What a little creature you are. I did not expect the moon to intervene on behalf of such a small thing.
Iris was still awestruck and speechless. The North Wind began to move about more aggressively now, staring up the trees.
Look beyond the obvious, my lord,
said the North Wind. He started to circle about Iris, making her hair and clothes whip around in his cold caresses.
She is human,
said the dragon dismissively.
They are nothing to us.
They do not deserve our contempt,
replied the North Wind.
They are young, we are old. We should nurture them, not renounce them.
And what makes this little mouse so special, but the moon comes to my master in his sleep?
Look at her.
The air around the dragon became hazy and unclear, blurry with a reddish tint. And then, as the air cleared, an enormous man stood in the dragon's place. He had all the majestic presence of his dragon form, and he strode forward with a fierce confidence. Iris felt rooted to the ground. The dragon man did not stop until he was practically touching her. Then he looked at her. He looked straight into her eyes, and it felt deep into her soul. She was mesmerized by his glowing red eyes, unable to speak or move. Finally, he turned away.
She will come with me,
he said as he walked back to the center of the garden and transformed back into his dragon form.
Come, little mouseling. The moon and the master have plans for you.
Go.
Whispered the north wind as he moved around her. She was terrified. The north wind gently caressed her and sang to her quietly. Then he moved into the trees, rustling their leaves, and the trees joined in his song. And it soothed her and made her feel more confident. She moved towards the dragon, looking back at her mother and grandmother. They were still awestruck by the presence of the dragon. He was lying nonchalantly on the ground, waiting for her to climb onto his back.
Your daughter to the wind and the trees.
He said as she approached.
They sing your song, little mouse.
She touched his hard scales. They were warm, almost hot. She climbed up his shoulders and onto his back.
Hold on tightly. We have a long journey ahead.
She was able to put her fingers between his scales and hold on. She lay flat down against him, her fear returning, as his heavy wings beat about her and they began to rise into the air. His heat kept her warm as they rose higher and higher into the sky. Then he bent and they began to fly north.